Okay, so it is the first of the month, and you know what that means. On the first episode of every single month, what I'm doing is reading one of the reviews that was left on the Apple podcast platform, or you could leave it on YouTube as well. And any person that I read their review, essentially I put you all into a draw, and then you get free access to one of my online programs. So the online program that these individuals are winning is the Social Media Automation Bootcamp. So essentially what I'm doing inside this program is teaching you how to leverage social media in a way that you are showing up as an expert, where you're showing up and you're building that relationship, you are showing up for your business consistently, but I'm showing you how to automate it because I get it. We are all busy entrepreneurs. We all have things to do. We all have times where we don't actually want to be on social media. So I am teaching you how to show up on social media without even having to live on social media. So the person that won today, I got it pulled up on my screen. I did the little wheel thing that enters everyone's names and then pulls it up. So the individual is Mo0006. So Mo0006, if you are listening, you have won this week's episode. And this one says, love the shorter length episodes so all the info doesn't get overwhelming. Keep it simple and easy to follow. Highly recommend. So I greatly appreciate that feedback. Please send me a message on social media at Lisa Ann Coaching. I'm not 100% sure who Mo006 is, but regardless, I really appreciate you leaving a rating and review. I will get you free access to my online program. And if you want to win free access to my online program, please head on over to Apple Podcasts, where you can leave a rating and review, or feel free to leave it on YouTube as well. But let's get right into the episode. I'm sure you're starting to gather that I love running ads online. Honestly, I pretty much have always loved running ads online. When my mentor told me and taught me how to actually run ads, I feel like I was pretty hooked pretty instantly. And I wasn't really hooked because of the results that they brought in. That was just a side bonus. Now, I used to be an ads manager for another agency when I first started, and they would actually call me their secret weapon. That's how much I loved ads. To me, ads have always been this big game. You do one thing, and then you see the result. You make a small tweak, and you know if it gets better or not. Now, obviously, over time, I've learned the ins and outs of what works and what doesn't work, but it's still a big game. Even knowing what works now, it's still this massive game in the online world. I can place an ad on my account and get a certain result. And then I can place the exact same ad on a different account and get different results. It's interesting, but it's super fun. Going back 7 years ago now, they used to be very different in terms of the results that you can get, but the overall strategy and setup of the ads, they haven't really changed that much. I remember the days where I would get applications, full applications for under 80 cents. That's how crazy good that you could grow your email list and grow your business. That's how fast you could do it. Today, things are a bit different, but the platform and the algorithms, they are very different. But again, the strategy and formats, they are honestly the exact same. So today, what I want to cover is how you can place high converting ads for your business. Because to be very honest with you, just placing an ad online, it's not going to convert as you want it to. The reason why Facebook, Instagram, or whatever platform you're running your ads on has one job. And that job is to get as many eyeballs in front of that ad as possible based on who you target. That's it. Once they do that, their job is honestly finished. It's really over for them. They've done their hard work. They have zero responsibility to you after that. So what does that actually tell us? It tells us that the bulk of the job of converting the clients, that's on you. That's for you to do. Look at it this way. You're the one who chooses your target audience and who you want Facebook, Instagram to show the ad to. You're the one who chooses the lead magnet. And you're also the one who actually writes the ad copy. And remember, the ad is the actual asset. It's the prime thing for your business. If the target audience is wrong, if the lead magnet is awful, if the copy is terrible, the ad will not convert regardless of how you set up your ad. It's as easy as that. Now, sadly, this happens honestly to a lot of entrepreneurs out there. I know a lot of people who actually have sworn off online ads because they claim it does not work for them. But I want you to remember that it's a game that when you learn what you're doing, you're going to get it right every single time. Think of it kind of like the game of golf. It's frustrating as heck when you try to learn how to play golf at first. Once you understand how to swing that club, know how to face the target and control the distance, you'll learn to love it. Or that's what I'm told, at least. I'm still in that let's figure out how to actually understand this distance thing, how to target properly. I can swing it, but that's all I can do. But anyways, long story short, once you implement these changes that I'm going to walk you through, your ads will start to convert better. And when they start to convert, like I said before, it really just turns into this big number game from there. So let's dive into it. What I want to do with you today is walk you through 6 suggestions. So these are my top 6 suggestions for writing and running high converting ads in the online world. So I want you to write these down if you can. The first tip starts before you even write the ad, before you even get into place the ad. And honestly, I feel like this is one that a lot of people miss out on in their marketing in general. And that's understanding who you are talking to. Seriously, let me ask you this. When do you think that you would make a better impact for your business? If you were able to connect with someone on a personal level, a level where you understand what they are going through, what they really are struggling with right now, with what they actually do for a living, you understand them, versus talking to someone who you know absolutely nothing about. I know you get my drift here. When you know who you are talking to, you'll make a better impact if you are trying to advertise to them or not. Now, another thing you need to remember is that this really cannot be guesswork. You can't just pick out of a hat and say, this is who I want to talk to. You can't rationalize your target audience. You can't just say, oh, I sell X and I know that from experience, X kind of people love X. That's too broad. That will not cut it. You actually need data. You need to go through your clients. You need to start understanding who is actually buying from you, or at least check out the people engaging with your content in the online world. Is there a recognizable demographic that you reach? Is there a pattern? Can that pattern be established with your competitors too? What are they all about? What do they like? These are the questions you need to ask yourself. Now, at this point, you probably are thinking this is too much work for just writing an ad and throwing it up on social media. But trust me, it's not. It's like if you were playing basketball in the dark. You can't see the hoop. You can't see where you're going to throw it. How would you actually know in the complete dark where to throw that ball? When you know who you're talking to, it's kind of like all of a sudden the lights come on and all of a sudden you can see your target to throw that ball through the hoop. Once your audience knows you understand them and you know who you're talking to, you'll be able to do 2 very important things. The first is that you'll be able to target them properly inside of Ads Manager where we actually place the ads, okay? The second is that you'll actually be able to relate to them a lot better. There are different ways to talk to people and approach them based on the conversation that you would have with them and where they actually are within their journey. For example, if you were talking to teenagers, you would want to throw in some slang that I probably don't even know anymore that they would actually use talking to their friends. That way it seems like you're on their level. You get them. If you were talking to a professional, you would speak a little bit differently or even word things a little bit differently. That's how you build a connection with ads that you place online. And no, I'm not just talking about running ads that say, buy me, I have the best rates in town, I have this. I'm talking about attracting high quality leads into your business. Now, the second tip that I have for you comes down to actually writing the ad copy, okay? Actually, tips number 2, 3, and 4 are all about writing the actual copy. An ad is really broken down into 3 sections. You have the hook, you have the value, and you have the call to action. The hook is how you want to start off the ad, and essentially it needs to be something that's really catchy. The hook is that first line or 2 that shows up on the post before people have to click that read more button. You know, that expands it. The hook is what will actually stop people from scrolling. The hook is what will grab someone's attention and make them want to click on that post to see what you're talking about. You've lost them if you can't capture someone's attention within the first 3 to 5 seconds. With the hook, you need to make sure you are calling out exactly who you want to attract and actually entice them to want to learn more. You also need to make sure that you don't give away everything in the hook and that they have already been given the chance to make up their mind if they want to click that read more button or not. Essentially, you've got to get into their minds as fast as possible. And trust me, you can't do that with bland copy. When writing a hook, a really easy rule of thumb is sharing who you're talking to, relating to where they are now, and where they want to go with their business or life or whatever. For example, I quit my corporate job to build a business online to travel the world. Here's how you can do it. I'm talking to those who have a corporate job now and who have a dream of traveling the world. If that person saw that post, they would be curious to see how I did it because they want to do the same thing. Remember, it has to be something that will catch their attention. Has to be something that will just shout out to them, hey, you want to read this. Now, the next section is the value, where you want to be speaking directly to their audience and actually persuading them to want to continue to connect with you in some way, shape, or form. Again, this is why understanding who you are talking to is so important. In the value of your ad in your post, you should actually be speaking directly to your audience, meaning you want to talk about your audience's pain points. You want to connect with them on a deep level, which again brings me back to who are you talking to? Here's the best way to describe it. Imagine you're trying to convince someone you know that could benefit from your business if they actually hire you or buy your product. Now, this person, let's just pretend that they're a childhood friend, okay? You've actually known them for years. You know everything about them. You all know their pain points. You know their struggles. You know the problems that they're going through, and you know how you can help them. How would you go about it when you're trying to convince them that they need that product or service? Would you say something generic to them? Like a one glove fits all situation? Or would you be very specific to their situation? Would you speak specifically about their problems and how you can solve them specifically? Or would you do something else? We both know the answer. You would be very specific because you know them. You have that relationship. You'd outline the problems that they think that they have, explaining how you can solve these problems, relating to them. In other words, you would speak directly to your target audience. It doesn't get simpler than that. And that is one of the most powerful things that you can do. And again, it comes back to understanding who you are talking to. And the last section is the final call to action of your ad. Once you have grabbed their attention and they're starting to read your ad, they feel like you truly understand what they're going through and that they need your help specifically. The last step is telling them exactly what to do next, aka you need a strong call to action. You need a strong call to action. It may look like something irrelevant to you, but a call to action has a measurable impact on the viewer's actual behavior. If you don't tell them what to do next, they just simply won't do it. It sounds simple, but they just won't. If you don't say, click that link below to download your guide, or click the link to apply to work with me, they simply will just read your ad and then they're going to move on with their day. You don't want that. That's not the purpose of your ad. That is not why you're running this ad in the first place. It's not why you're spending money behind it. The stronger your call to action, the more significant impact your ad can have on your target audience. Plus, it will work even better if you infuse some sort of urgency into it. So ask yourself, what do you really want them to do when they see your ad? And make sure to always end your ad off by telling them exactly what to do. Oh, and make sure you only have one call to action at a time, by the way. If you give people options, they're going to get confused and they will not do anything that you actually want them to do. Now, when you combine all three aspects, so that catchy hook, the connection in that value portion, and a solid call to action, you are on your way to writing an effective ad. Now, there is another piece of an ad that you can add into the equation depending on what type of ad you're running. But let's say you're running an ad with a headline. You can run typical social media posts as ads on social media that really just don't appear like an ad, or you can have one running that has a header and a button right below the post. Now, honestly, depending on your industry, they do work really great. It just comes down to testing. But if you find yourself running successful ads with headlines, let's say, the one that's right below your post, there's a headline and then a button, I want to give you a tip, okay? With the headline, you can picture a header and put that button right beside it, again, right below that post. These typically should be very short and right to the point. There are two directions that you can really take with your headlines. You can either use it as another hook to grab attention, or use it to summarize what they will actually get with whatever you're talking about in your ad. For example, let's say if you have a quiz, you can say, free quiz, learn your wedding style. Or you can say, what is your wedding style? Both are grabbing the attention of those individuals who are getting married. Just one is more direct with what they're getting. You're very, very upfront with it, saying free quiz. Now, the last tip isn't really about the ad itself. Instead, it's more of a technical advice about how you should approach your ads. The first thing you should understand is that you are not perfect. No ad is going to be perfect. You don't know everything at this point. No one knows everything unless you are the owner of Facebook and Instagram. So even if you come up with an ad that you think is absolutely amazing and it's the best thing in the world, you have to test it in the market. I will always advise my students to write multiple ads, different lengths, different hooks, different call to actions. That way, they can always be testing and learn what actually works for their audience. So what I suggest doing is testing 2 different ads at once and have one small change. For example, one of my students in the Spotlight Theory wrote an excellent ad for his lead magnet, okay? It was amazing. We reviewed his ad during one of our group coaching sessions and we made just some slight tweaks to it. This ad was a long form ad, which I know in these cases work amazing. But since it was his first time running ads, I suggested that we start off with a second version that was shorter than his original one. So we trimmed the long one slightly and we placed both ads on his Ads Manager account. I did ask the students of the Spotlight Theory to vote on which ad they would believe would convert better, the long form or the short form. Most of them actually said short. They said they don't have time to read that. When he tested, the long form ad got better results. Now he can move on to test a different variation on the long version. Test a hook, test a headline, test a different call to action. You can even test using a video versus a photo. You can do lots, but the initial aspect is to test, and then test some more. I mentioned that running ads is really like just playing this big, massive game. When you get into it, you'll love playing. Trust me, it's super fun. And when you see the results, you'll love it even more. Pretty cool, right? Anyways, I know I just threw a lot at you today. Make sure to re-listen to this one if you need it. But remember, you want to understand who you are talking to. You want to make sure that you have the 3 sections of an ad. Use a headline if you want to, and test until you know how your audience specifically reacts. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me at any point on social media at Lisa Ann Coaching. But regardless, have the best day ever. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again. I'll see you next week for more insight into the digital world and how to successfully run a business online. Anyways, bye for now.